Finally, we also have to go to this step. Are you ready? This slow as the AI is about to break through SAO. Wei Lin can praise this master of mine. It's not easy. The mystery is scary. This is the reason why you are a brother. We keep looking at the enemy. How you broke through right in our public domain SAO. What's that direction? Pharmacy tablet.
Marvelous. Allow this humble Taoist to use a bit of my spiritual attainment to infuse the spiritual chi of words into this story, transforming it from a simple ink wash painting into a heaven-shaking phenomenon, so that all you fellow Taoists may better perceive the turbulent path of immortal cultivation and the ocean-deep calculations of old Devil Han. Welcome back to the fascinating content on the official Donghua family channel. Here, we will analyze, dissect, and scrutinize every step of Han Li's journey. If this is the first time you, fellow Taoist, have come across this channel, please give our Donghua family a like and subscribe to the channel. Greetings, fellow Taoists, here at Donghua family, where the spiritual tea is ever fragrant and the tales of immortal cultivation are recounted with utmost passion. Today, let us temporarily set aside the worldly struggles and the calculations of fate and opportunity to discuss one of the greatest mysteries surrounding old Devil Han. A heaven-shaking anomaly, an act that dared to challenge the very might of the heavens, the secret art of the second nascent soul. On this 10,000-mile path of immortal cultivation, every step is a gamble with destiny. The 10,000 races contend for supremacy, great calamities descend, and geniuses are as numerous as autumn leaves. Yet, those who can stand at the pinnacle and look down upon all living things can be counted on one's fingers. Why is this so? Because the heavenly Tao is indifferent and the tribulation lightning is blind. A single mistake in secluded cultivation, a single invasion by an inner demon, a single confrontation with a formidable foe, any of these can cause 10,000 years of arduous cultivation to vanish like smoke. The heavenly Tao has its laws, an anomaly defies the heavens. The heavenly Tao cycles, and all things have their laws. The path of a cultivator, from being a weak mortal, enduring 100,000 hardships to achieve foundation establishment, and then betting one's life to condense a golden core. Every realm is a gateway between life and death. Among them, the most difficult threshold is breaking the core to form the soul, Fa Dan Tanan. Countless cultivators of breathtaking talent have fallen before this gate, their golden cores shattering, their Tao vanishing, and souls dissipating. Those fortunate enough to succeed, to condense the nascent soul, also have only one. The nascent soul is the very origin, the vessel for one's spiritual soul and entire cultivation. Once the nascent soul is destroyed, it is like a lamp running out of oil. The physical body becomes an empty shell, forever sunk in the cycle of reincarnation. This is the firmament of heaven and earth, an iron law that no one dares to defy. And yet, in the vast world of cultivation, there still exist anomalies who dare to act against the heavens, to shatter the shackles of the great Tao. That person is none other than Han Li, the one who bore a body of twin souls, a single form containing two lives. He was unwilling to let his fate hang by a single, fragile thread, and was determined to use his intellect and caution to forge an additional path to survival. Karma takes form, a demonic art appears. To speak of this fateful opportunity, one must begin with a promise heavy with karma. For a single word of faith to his beloved confidant, Han Li, after forming his nascent soul and achieving great divine abilities, did not hesitate to go alone to the very nest of the Fu clan. That night, the sword light was cold, and his robes were stained with blood. Without a single superfluous word, he used the force of thunder to annihilate the entire clan, severing a thread of worldly enmity. Karma cycles, good deeds yield good results. When he returned with the token, what he received was not gold or silver, but an ancient box. Inside was a demonic scripture made of an unknown beast's hide, the illusory matron transformation soul grand art, Huin Mao Hoan Dai Fap. The moment it was opened, a wave of chilling, eniline demonic chi washed over him, unsettling one's spiritual soul. This technique was not of the righteous path, but a tyrannical demonic art, recording a world-shaking method. Seize the nascent soul of another, use one's own divine sense as a crucible, forcibly cleanse the opponent's ego, and finally transform it into an eternally existing avatar. This method was cruel and harbored an immense risk of backlash from one's inner demon. If one were to fail, not only would the second nascent soul not be formed, but even the original nascent soul would be tainted by demonic chi, one's cultivation would be damaged, and one could even suffer from chi deviation. But for Han Li, a man accustomed to walking the line between life and death, a path that could increase his chances of survival, even if it was a demonic one, was a gamble worth taking. An aberrant spirit becomes an incarnation, a clash of divine senses. The sacrifice for this secret art was a most peculiar living being, a creation of the spirit-controlling sect, known as the Supreme Wood Spirit Infant, Chimaklinon. It had the form of an innocent young girl, yet its eyes held the vicissitudes of 10,000 years and a malevolent will. It was an artificial nascent soul, but it had condensed its own intelligence and consciousness, becoming incredibly ferocious, specializing in devouring the spiritual souls of cultivators to grow stronger. In Han Li's eyes, this was the most perfect cauldron for refining a second nascent soul. On the day of their confrontation, heaven and earth churned. Han Li initially used only his flying swords to probe, but the sharp sword light that struck the girl's body was like slashing at empty space. It reformed in an instant. Only then did he realize he had encountered a bizarre opponent. Without hesitation, the evil-warding divine lightning, Tich Tathan Loi, was summoned, transforming into a great net of purple gold, carrying an aura that could suppress all evil and demonic entities, and enveloped the Supreme Wood Spirit Infant. Trapped by the divine lightning, the aberrant spirit shrieked but could not escape. Han Li then began the most arduous process of refinement. His divine sense, as powerful and steadfast as a colossal dragon, charged directly into the misty sea of consciousness of the Supreme Wood Spirit Infant. It was a war fought without smoke or fire, yet it was 10,000 times more dangerous. Within the sea of consciousness, the Spirit Infant's consciousness fought back madly, transforming into countless illusions, sometimes appearing as bewitching beauties, other times as terrifying ghouls, all in an attempt to sway Han Li's mind. But Han Li's Dao heart had long been forged to be as firm as a great mountain. His divine sense did not waver in the slightest, suppressing everything like Mount Tai. Bit by bit, he crushed its resistance, cleansed its ego, and carved his own imprint upon it. After this process, as painful as being flayed and having one's bones pulled out, a new nascent soul bearing Han Li's form and aura was born. From this point on, two were one, and one was two, a truly profound mystery. The inner demon awakens, thoughts of rebellion. But a demonic art is still a demonic art. How could there be no backlash? During one instance of being pursued by a great cultivator, Han Li was forced to sever a limb to survive, letting the second nascent soul lure the enemy away with demonic treasures while his main body escaped. The two were thus separated for several decades. During those lonely years in the fallen Devil Valley, a place where demonic chi flooded the skies, the second nascent soul gradually underwent a transformation. It asked itself, "Who am I? Am I Han Li, or merely his shadow? By what right must I be the sacrifice while he escapes to safety?" The loneliness, the resentment, and the corrosion of the demonic chi nurtured the inner demon within it. It was no longer content to be a shadow but developed the idea of betraying the master, wanting to replace the main body and become the true Han Li. It occupied the heavenly Azura demonic corpse, a demonic body Han Li had once refined, and began its own path of cultivation. Its mind also grew venomous. To gain a trump card against the main body, it even went so far as to capture Han Li's beloved female confidants, planning to use them as hostages to exert pressure and create a crack in Han Li's state of mind. It wanted to prove that it was even more ruthless and decisive than the main body. The main body returns, thunder suppresses the demon. Heaven's net is vast, though its mesh is wide, nothing escapes it. Han Li's cultivation at this time was already at the late nascent soul stage, his divine abilities heaven-reaching. How could he allow an inner demon of his own creation to wreak havoc? When he sensed its existence and learned of its deeds, his eyes turned cold as ice. He entered the 10,000 fathoms demonic abyss, and the roiling demonic chi there seemed to part for his aura alone. The fated battle between the main body and the inner demon ensued. The second nascent soul controlled the demonic corpse, demonic arts howling and ghostly chi filling the sky. But Han Li merely waved his hand, and the three-flame fan transformed into a tricolored firebird, incinerating all demonic chi. He executed the wind and lightning wings, his figure appearing like a phantom behind the demonic corpse, and a single punch shattered its protective light. Knowing it could not win, the second nascent soul was incredibly decisive, successively self-detonating the Blood Devil Sword and the Ghostly Cry Banner, two demonic artifacts, creating heaven-shaking explosions in a desperate attempt to buy time to escape. But it never expected that Han Li had already laid a great formation at the exit. The moment it broke free of the encirclement, it fell directly into the spell formation. At that instant, on Han Li's forehead, a third eye, the law-annihilating eye, Fa Diet Fatmuk, slowly opened. A jet-black ray of light shot out, and the space around the second nascent soul was instantly locked down, rendering all teleportation arts useless. The Void Heaven Cauldron, Hu Thien Din, descended from the sky, carrying the might of a small world, and easily collected it. All resistance was futile. A body of 10,000 uses, an aid on the Great Tao. From then on, after being refined once more, the second nascent soul was no longer a threat, but became a powerful aid. Sometimes, it was the puppet master, controlling a late nascent soul stage puppet during great battles, forming a pincer attack with the main body against foes as powerful as the Six Paths Extreme Saint. Sometimes, it was the medicine attendant, tending to a vast spiritual herb garden on behalf of the main body, even personally cultivating the legendary heaven-reaching vine, a task requiring absolute patience and meticulous care. In the Guanghan realm, it became the conduit for a great karmic opportunity. It sat on the mysterious Grandmaster chair, receiving a baptism of pure spirit energy that flowed like an inverted river of stars. Its soul was continuously dissolved and reformed during this process, enduring unimaginable pain, only to break through in parallel with the main body, reaching the peak of the void refining stage. In life and death battles against the saint ancestors of the devil realm, it was the art of the substitute body, self-detonating without hesitation, preserving but a wisp of its soul to protect the main body's life. Finally, it was also the crucible. When Hanli accidentally absorbed the earthly abyssal qi, a destructive energy that could cause the body to decay, it took this energy into its own body, allowing the main body to avert a great calamity. Looking back on the journey of the second nascent soul, one can see that it was a chess piece, a trump card on Han Li's great chessboard of the Tao. It was the embodiment of his extreme caution. It was both a shield and a spear and a servant. On the heaven-defying path of immortal cultivation, every step is perilous. A cultivator like Han Li, with a mind as deep as the ocean, calculated every move for the sake of two words, eternal life. For, as the sages of old have said, the great Tao is indifferent. The longer a cultivator lives, the more they desire to live. Life itself is the root of all things. Today's discussion on the Tao concludes here. Thank you, fellow Taoists, for listening. I hope this story can bring you a small measure of enlightenment on your own paths of cultivation. We shall meet again when fate allows. Fellow Taoists, please subscribe to the channel and become a member of our great Donghua family. Greetings and see you again.